Ref Brandon and the Todd Family YouTube video, wherever you are, whatever you may be doing. Thank you so much for making Ref Brandon and the Todd Family part of your day. We always greatly appreciate it. It's time for our very first video of 2025. I was going to do one yesterday, and I thought, you know what? Football's on, and everybody's enjoying their off day. So let's just not do one today, but we are back here on this Thursday. And who is my favorite to win the whole kit and caboodle, the whole darn thing? I'll tell you coming up here in a couple of minutes. Hey there, Kevron. Glad to have you here, man. But first, earlier this week, it was Monday, there was a story that came out about Florida State. And in case you haven't heard about it, the story goes that 6 former Florida State basketball players are trying to sue Leonard Hamilton, who is the basketball coach at Florida State. They're trying to sue Leonard Hamilton for basically, in a nutshell, lying to them because they claim last year he told all 6 of them they would make $250,000 apiece for playing basketball there, and they all came and never got their money. They claim that one time during the season they got so frustrated they tried to walk out on the team, and Leonard set them all down and basically told them, hey guys, be a little patient, your money's coming. Well, they never got the money. Well, Florida State, there was a time for a long time where Florida State was pretty good at basketball. Last year they were 17-16, so basically a 500 team. Well, now they're suing, saying that he promised them money that they didn't get. I don't see how they win in court because it's basically no contract involved, so it's their word against his word. Hey there, Austin. And I don't see Leonard coming out and saying, yeah, I told him I'd pay him, and I didn't. Now, if he says that, I can see these players winning, but unless he says that, I don't see them winning because they don't have contracts, which they should. If they had contracts, it's going fantastic. Austin, thank you for asking. If they had contracts, then they sign the contract to get a certain amount of money and you get it. But without a written contract, it's basically your word against their word. And this has been going on since the beginning of time where coaches, not just in college basketball, but football, baseball, anything, even on the job site, if somebody wants you to work on your day off or come in early, they liable to say, hey, you come in early and I'll do blank for you. And then they don't do it. They're lying, but they're telling you that to get what they want. Because if Leonard doesn't tell them, hey guys, I'll give you the money that you want, they're not going to come. So you tell them that to get them to come. Now, did Leonard completely 100% make this up? Or did Leonard Hamilton say this because he was told by some boosters of the program, hey, if these guys come, I'll pay them. And then, Leonard gives these guys a message and then these guys don't come. And they think Leonard is lying. In reality, he wasn't. He was told that he would get that money. Hey there, Prita. Glad to have you here. Hey there, Tio. Glad to have you here. Golden Arrow. Glad to have you here. Pandarin. Glad to have you here. Thank all y'all for being here. So it's kind of hard to know, did Leonard just completely make that up? Or was he told by some boosters that they would pay him? And thank you for the kind words there, for fan account. Appreciate that. Or was it the fact that, yeah, these boosters were going to pay these players, but they really thought these players were going to be good because they were supposed to be good, and they turned out not to be good, and the team turned out to suck. And the booster said, well, We were going to pay, but, this team didn't, have the expectations that we wanted, and we don't think you deserve that kind of money. So, no, we're not going to pay you. Kind of hard to know, but I don't think this holds up in court because their word against his word, and without a contract, you can really say anything. Now, you shouldn't flat out bold-faced lie, but that's been going on in all sports and all walks of life forever. You tell somebody what they want to hear to get what you want out of them, and you really can't sue over that. But now, if they sue and they win, then you're going to be seeing a whole lot more of this because other players are going to say, "Wait a minute, if they sued over that, why can't I?" Now, luckily, it's not the NCAA going to court because we're all seen by now that when they go to court, they lose. So if they were going to court, they lose, but it's not them. Yes, Austin, I've been a sports fan since I was about 6, which is how old I was when I first started watching sports. And I am amazing, T.O. Thank you for asking. And I actually, Austin, now that you asked, I forgot to answer a while ago. I umpired Little League Baseball back in 2011. So I did back then consider being a football ref, but I figured I've got enough on my plate. Don't want to add to it, but I did think about it one time a long time ago. But on to the playoff games. Now that today's game is over, Penn State back on Tuesday night defeated Boise State 31-14. Texas in double overtime beat Arizona State 39-31. Ohio State demolishes Oregon 41-21, and it wasn't that close. And then earlier today, Notre Dame beat Georgia 23-10. So all 4 teams that got first round byes got beat. Now, of course, they're already talking about in 2 years when they can change the playoffs at the earliest time, changing it to make it 16 teams. If they do that, there'll be no more first round byes. But it doesn't make any sense to me because back when we had 4 teams, we had blowouts. Now we have 12 teams, we have blowouts. So you're going to expand it and put more teams in to have more blowouts. That makes 0 sense to me. But a lot of folks don't like the first round bye, but you can still have a 12-team playoff and not have 4 teams get a first round bye. But after this, of course, people are going to say, well, I don't think I really want to buy, but that's the age-old adage. That's been around since the beginning of sports, really. I know every year in the NFL, people talk about, is it better to be a wild card team or is it better to, get that first round bye? Major League Baseball, is it better to, be a wild card team or better to get that bye? Because if you rested too long, don't rest at all, you need that rest. Honestly, really, truly, I think that's all just talk. I think if you go in there and you get beat, then you just got beat by a better team. Now, you come out of the gate and you play flat, I don't care if you were off for 2 days or a month. If you're flat, that falls on the head coach because the head coach is supposed to get you ready. If he doesn't get you ready, no matter how long you've been off, that is on the coach, 100%. No way around it. How long have you been a pro wrestling ref? 17 years, Austin. Thank you for asking. I started in July 2007. So almost 18 years now. It'll be 18 years this summer since I've been doing it. And I'd have never thought when I started I'd be doing it for this long. No, Scuba Steve, I am not. I would not be a WWE or a AEW referee. If they ever came to a town near me and asked me to come ref a house show for them, I would do it. But I'm a family man, and I always have been, and they travel way too much. and they're gone way too long. And with me having three small kids at home, there is no way that I would be on the road that much and only get to see my kids once every 2 or 3 months. Not doing it. They could offer me $1 million a match, and I wouldn't do it. I'm not a money person. To me, family means more than money, and seeing my wife and kids on a daily basis means more to me than being a referee in the big time. So I would do it if they ever asked at a house show. You're not under contract, but as far as signing a contract with them and doing it all the time, wouldn't do it. I've too many stories over the years of people that pretty much lose their family because they're on the road traveling so much. So I've said nope, I wouldn't do it. And Austin, I started refereeing in 2007, and I think I started refereeing for SWA in 2009, I believe, either 2009 or 2010. I don't know. I don't write this stuff down, so it's kind of hard to say what year it was, but it was either '09 or 2010. So I haven't been SWA for the entire time, but I have been for most of the time. But outside of the Texas games, which if you watched against Clemson, Texas came out and got the lead, and Clemson battled back and got it back to a one-score game, and then Texas went up by 2 scores, and then yesterday Texas had that big lead on the Sun Devils and let the Sun Devils get back in it, and then Texas wins it in double overtime. But outside of the Texas two games, every other playoff game has been at least a two-score game. Most of them more than that. So it'd be nice to see some down to the wire thrillers. So far, we're just not getting them. But Georgia today, I thought they'd beat Notre Dame. I even made a video earlier in the week and said they'd beat Notre Dame. I thought they would. But I don't understand why the Georgia fans felt like when Gunnar Stockton came along, things were going to change. I've said all year long that Georgia's problems were not Carson Beck related. They led the country in dropped passes. That's not on the quarterback. And they cannot run the ball at all. So when you can't run the ball and your receivers can't catch, your quarterback is handcuffed and your coordinator is handcuffed. And sure enough, today, Gunnar Stockton plays. Guess what? Georgia still can't run the ball, and their receivers still can't catch. Austin, I'm not sure how long SWA has been around. I'll have to ask Jackie next time I talk to him, but I think he started in the mid 90s sometime around in there between 95 and 97, I believe, but I'm not exactly sure. I wasn't there when he started, so I really can't tell you for certain. So I don't know why you can't run the ball and your receivers can't catch, and you think because you changed quarterbacks, all of a sudden now you can run the ball and your receivers can catch. Well, guess what? They still can't catch. I want to say it was the first drive of the third quarter, but maybe I'm wrong. But they had receiver Bell about 50 yards downfield, wide open, and the ball hit him right in the hands, and he dropped it. And it was like the ninth or 10th game this year before Georgia had a running back rush for 100 yards. And when you've got 19 five-star running backs, there's no reason why it should be 9 or 10 games of the season before you get a 100-yard running back rushing in a game. And, there's no excuse for it, but you can't blame that on Carson Beck. And sure enough, today it was the same old, same old. Now, I thought they'd get past Notre Dame, but I wasn't sure about anything beyond that. But the same issues they've had all year long, they had today. And when you can't run the ball and your receivers can't catch, there's just not a whole lot you can do. And today, as that game went on, their offensive line was getting whooped more and more and more. But Ohio State, to me, right now, looks like the team to beat because not only did they blow out Tennessee in round one, but they blew out Oregon yesterday. And honestly, really, truly, the final score was 41-21. The game wasn't that close. It was 34 to nothing. And then the last play of the first half, Oregon scores, make it 34 to 8 at halftime. But at one time in the second quarter, Ohio State was up 31 to nothing, and they had like 350 yards of offense. They were on pace for like 800 yards of offense in the game, and luckily they slowed way down because they could have. But when they beat Tennessee last week, you thought, well, that's one good game. But then they come back and do it again yesterday. So if they can do that 2 times in a row, and I said that I thought the only 4 teams that had a chance to win the national championship were Oregon, Ohio State, Georgia, and Texas. And now Oregon's out and Georgia's out. And of course, Ohio State and Texas play in the next round, which tells you that, in my opinion, the winner of that game wins the whole thing. And I think Ohio State will win that game. Ohio State, as I said on here back in August, has the best talent in America in the starting lineup. You won't find a better starting 22 than what they have. But they had several games this year, especially on offense. They just seemed like they lined up and said, you know what? We're better than you. We have no game plan. We're just going to line up and do what we want to. And it didn't work. But then when they lost to Michigan, I think it awoke a sleeping giant. So I think Ohio State right now is the team to beat. But now we only have to wait 1 week until the next round. We have one game next Thursday night and one game next Friday night. And yes, Austin, I still ref part-time. I will do it as long as I possibly can. And in case you have not heard, Jalen Milroe declared for the NFL draft. Now, of course, as bad as he played on Tuesday, the Bama fans are probably saying, thank God he's leaving, because when he came in, he was highly, highly sought after and highly talked about. And he's just gotten worse over time. He still played pretty good against the good teams, great teams. But when they played average teams, he was terrible. This year against Vanderbilt, he was, mediocre, average at best. Against Oklahoma, he was awful. And then Tuesday against Michigan, he was absolutely hideous. So, of course, you've got Bama fans now saying, thank God he's gone, but they better hurry up and get a backup plan because he's gone now. And I haven't heard of a great backup plan they have, but they better hurry up and get one. But he is now going to the NFL draft. Any thoughts on any of this? Please feel free to let me know. My recliner and I go way back. And that is your dad joke of the day. And that does it for today's Ref Brandon and the Todd family YouTube video. Until next time, it's Ref Brandon saying, just like in pro wrestling, life can be over by the count of 3. Tell your friends and family how much you love them. Bye.